So, hello everybody. Happy Saturday morning. Yes, I'm from the future. I know what's happening. So, uh, Captain here, Thrash here, Thrash. Say hello. Tell everybody who you are.
Sure, so he's gonna catch up with fucking Raven here in a minute.
I don't know about that. Um, so we'll you watch the one with JV, so you know this one's just slightly different. Instead of being 20 random nonsense questions, these are 20 random nonsense music questions. So,
Right.
um, so we'll just have a wee bit of just a wee bit of a laugh with it, and we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. So they're all music this time. It's just the whole way through. So, um, just say hello to everybody in the chat before we start. So, and we'll hide a few bit. Hello,
Hello,
Angie.
everyone.
Hello, Alan.
Cheers, everybody.
Hello, Dave. I still think Dave's got the best avatar ever. I love that
He
fucking
does. I love
guitar.
that guitar. It's awesome.
Fantastic. I don't know who that guy is.
Uh,
He's always put a wrench behind his name. I don't know. He's always been suspect.
all
That
I
guy.
know, if you drop a ton of bricks on his head, his hair would survive.
Hello, BC.
Cheers, BC.
Let me see. Let me see.
Cheers.
Hello, Sparkle.
Sparkle.
Hello, Carla. And Carla, thanks again for
Hello,
doing last
Carla.
week. It was fantastic. So, let's see. I think that's nearly everybody. Oh no, here we go. It's Miss Piggy. Hello, Miss Piggy.
Spaghetti.
At least saying hello. And I think that's Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Um, okay. So it's all music stuff. No wrong answers apart from Bone Thugs and fucking Harmony. Blake, if you're watching that still.
That's not
Answer.
music.
Fucking Desert Island. What are your three Desert Island discs that you pick? Fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know. Um,
People thought that was 3 discs.
Fucking hell. I like somebody that's supposed to be a fucking music fan.
Right.
Even calls himself a musician. Um, and now we finally know what broke up the Stone Aces. I mean, Blake was Yoko Ono. So um,
Oh, that's good.
yes, we might have to do more with that later. Um,
We need T-shirts made.
yeah.
Blake
Oh,
was Ono.
there's Daniel in as well. Daniel of the multi. I mean, Daniel's up to 15 channels now on YouTube, so fair play to him. Right. Okay. Right. So, nice simple one to get started. Just at your leisure, tell us about your musical background. So,
Uh, you'd asked this question before in our other one-on-one that wasn't musical, and I got to think about it for a bit, and I think it went farther back than where I started. It was pretty much AM radio in the car with my mother. Where
sorry. Just want to.
sure.
Hello, Yoko. How you doing?
You need to clean your sheets.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't resist. He just turned up in the chat, so.
No, he was trolling. He was there.
Uh,
That's funny. That's good. Anyway, everything started with singing with me.
right.
AM radio, FM wasn't there yet. This is back when color just come into the picture, and AM radio was pretty cool because not only did AM radio play, the actual hits of the day
Yeah.
that were actual hits, but you could actually call into the radio station and request. They had request lines, and you could call in and they would have you on the radio, your recording, of course, of you
Yeah.
calling in and say, I remember calling in as a kid and when Fleetwood Mac's Rumors album came out,
Right.
asking to hear Rhiannon, from that album, because that
Yeah.
was the hit at the time. We're
Right.
talking mid 70s here. So that's where my musical background started. So from there, I was always in choir. I was always singing something somewhere. My mom always makes fun of me because in elementary school, they always knew when trash day was because I was late coming home, and everyone in the neighborhood could hear me singing while I was going through the garbage trying to find the good stuff to bring home. It's kind of odd, but you know, I wasn't I wasn't from a rich family at all. I grew up, pretty pretty kind of below average, so I was always jonesing for shit in the trash on trash day. But yeah, musical background, so a lot of people know that um, I started off early. My first instrument was the piano, and I started playing piano. I think I was 6, maybe 7 years old, and I didn't do it through school. I actually had a private tutor that I worked with. It's kind of funny too because it was always after school. I had to walk like half a mile up to where she lived, and we either she was busy doing something on the phone or something where she would always be late. So I would be with the kid of the house, and we'd be watching cartoons or Mickey Mouse Club or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, the skin flu. Shut up, Lep. Were you gonna ask something or no?
No, I'm just,
Okay.
I'm trying to listen, but I also wanted to say hello to people when they pop in.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I started playing piano, and uh, I played piano. God, I think for 2 or 3 years. At the same time in school, from elementary school, getting into sports and stuff as a kid, always playing football, basketball. I wasn't a baseball player, but I was a wrestler. So in the musical part of school, the snare drum was a big thing. I
Right.
wanted to play snare drum in the band, so I played snare drum for a while, um, until I don't know why I got interested in this, but the sousaphone. So the big old one that you carry and the thing's over your shoulder. I was the smallest guy in school and played the sousaphone. So carrying that home to practice was fun. So I played sousaphone for probably 2 years in
Right.
elementary school. And then, God, from there, where'd it go? Violin.
Right.
During this time, I'm still playing piano. So I've had many, many recitals. I was always in choir, so we were always doing like going to the local mall and doing choruses in the mall because they sounded freaking awesome in the
Right.
mall. Cause the
It was
echo and
just for
everything.
the acoustics then, really.
Yeah, the acoustics is great. So we do all the Christmas stuff, in school. Go out. I remember having my bolero and everything, and going out and performing. Every year we were playing, so I was always singing something. And then the instruments just kept changing over the years. So after the violin, I think I played the violin maybe a year, maybe 2 years, if that. This is like overlapping instruments. So
Yeah.
I was always like, whatever the focus was on me is like, oh, squirrel. I'd go and grab the next instrument and start
Right.
start
Okay.
fucking with it. So this went on through elementary school into junior high, and then I kind of took a pause from it for a bit, and then in late junior high. So I probably went a couple years where I wasn't really playing anything. I was more focused on singing. So I sang with a couple bands through school, and then when high school came, that's where a lot of things changed. This is the early '80s. I graduated in 1984. Around 79, 80, um, that's when MTV came out. So
Right.
everyone's focused on MTV. Fucking music television was our life. It was cool, man. You get home and see what I remember the first freaking song that was on MTV. Does anyone know that one? You know,
Was it David
put
Bowie?
it in. Huh?
Was it David Bowie?
Nope. Video killed the radio star.
The
Remember that?
Buggles. That's right.
Yeah. So watching that and watching MTV grow, it was kind of cool watching the stuff because this is when the hairband era was starting to come out, and
Yeah.
um, a lot of things were changing. So I'm like, man, that's freaking cool, man. And seeing these guys playing freaking instruments and doing their thing on there, and I'm going, everyone gets stars in their eyes. So in high school, I started picking up the bass guitar. So not only was I singing, I had my first band called Abyss, in high school, and I was playing bass. We were playing shit from like the Clash. AC/DC was the prime stuff that we were doing. A lot of that real focused AC/DC stuff,
Right.
Dirty Deeds, the older stuff too from Powerage. That's one of my favorite albums. High Voltage, doing stuff from there. Just jacking around with the instruments, and we were actually practicing in a church rectory, which was cool. I had a guy in there. The lead guitarist. He had a full Marshall stack. I used to have a full one, but I downgraded because I don't need the other cabinet. But he would bring the full stack and leave it there in the rectory. And dude, we get in there and jam during the week. Outside there was this is back when skateboarding was the big thing, and they had built a half pipe. So when we would take a break, they'd be out there freaking doing their thing, getting bruised up on a half pipe, and then go back in and we'd keep jamming. But
were you out skateboarding?
I skateboarded everywhere I went, but I didn't do the half pipe stuff. I used skateboard to get from point A to point B.
I can't picture you doing ollies and all this sort of nonsense.
No.
It just
No, it was cool. Red skateboard. We didn't have backpacks back then. You had to carry the damn thing, with your books and shit. But yeah, I used to get yelled at by the cops because I'd be riding on the street. They'd say, "You need to get on the sidewalk," I'll give you a ticket, shit like that. I'll find your ass. But that's where got into guitar and really getting into stuff. And then we had a foreign exchange student live with us, and his name was Klaus. Is it Klaus? I think it was. God, it's a fucking long time ago. Anyway, he came over and I remember we were going to the mountains here in Colorado, and we were having a picnic, and he was really cool. He was from a really rich family. So when he went back, he sent us like these crystal freaking glasses and everything. His family did and everything. It was really cool for letting us keep him over here. But I remember being up there at the picnic and then hearing Iron Maiden for the first time. And I remember The Trooper and Run to the Hills. Remember that? We were watching it on, we were listening to it either on the radio. I think it was through a cassette that he had or something like that. I can't remember. I mean, it was a long time ago.
It probably was cassette, yeah.
Yeah, so the cassette, sitting there and listening to that, and you're like, what the hell? Yeah. So you kind of plug that in your head and you take that back. And from there, that's when things really started changing on the genres that I really wanted to study. Because, when you're learning piano, when you're learning the violin, when you're learning all these other instruments, you're learning a lot of classical stuff. H.R. Sousa, your Mozart, your Paganini, all that shit. You're learning all that stuff through your learning.
Yeah.
And you hear this shit come over and it blows you away. And you're like, oh my God, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
So after that, I graduate high school. My band Abyss, we didn't really do anything. It was pretty much a garage band, a church band, a church garage band.
Yeah.
So it didn't really do anything. And I go into the military, and I'm stationed in Germany in 1985. And 1985, this is where I get my first taste of Metallica. And 84, I think, is when Master of Puppets came out. I had no clue who Metallica was at that time. I was hooked on Iron Maiden. My brother was hooked into Queensryche. I love Jeff Tate, his vocal range, the way he sang, all the guys in the band. So just everything I learned hit me in Germany. All the Backstreet stuff that was coming up and hit me in the face, the Motorheads, the Anthrax, the Megadeth
Yeah.
was kind of there. It was Dave Mustaine was still kind of young because he had gotten kicked out of the band and everything, and he was really coming up with it. All of that thrash stuff was like hit me
I
in the
will.
face.
I Slayer. One of the big five or big four.
Big Four, it was
Metallica, Megadeth,
Anthrax, it was
Slayer.
Slayer, it was Metallica, and who was the other one?
It's Anthrax, Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica was the big four. But
Yeah,
you'd other stuff. I mean, Diamond Head were unofficially one of them.
hell yeah. And the cover that Metallica did for Diamond Head on Am I Evil? Oh my god, that's one of the first fucking tunes that I learned on six string.
I don't mean to interrupt, but that's still one of the highlights for me ever going to gigs was
Hell yeah.
when the big four played Nebworth 2011 and the Diamond Head, and they played Am I Evil. They all were on stage at the same time.
Yeah.
And there was about 8 guitarists and 3 drummers, and it was mayhem, but it was great.
Oh yeah.
Just because of what it was and who it was, So
Of course. And then at the end, I think Dave Mustaine was hugging everyone in Metallica and vice versa. And everyone was saying, hey, even though there was bad blood going on, because in the end, Metallica was ripping off Rick and Dave Mustaine. He said, don't use my material. And they did.
I heard that.
Yeah. But while I was in the barracks in Germany, I played with a keyboardist there. His name's Michael Turk. Really good friend of mine. He's a great freaking R&B freaking keyboardist and rock keyboardist. He could dub and he could do the guitar stuff a little bit too. This is before the internet, guys. So this is just us. We're dreaming while we're looking at Circus Magazine. This is how old we are. The guitarist that I was hanging out with, this guy was flashy. He was into the Motley Crue. He was into all this stuff. So all of us got together and we really started like having this melting pot of music at the time. And I asked to borrow his guitar. He had a couple of them over there. This guy was a phenomenal player. And I took it back and started fiddling with it. Next thing you know, the bass took a back seat. I went and bought my own 6-string. So I've been playing guitar, which is my main instrument, since 1986, 87. I've been playing it. And I'm not a perfectionist at all. I've never been a lead guitarist, but I'll rip your head off with a freaking rhythm.
Right. Okay.
That's me. I mean, Judas Priest, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Metallica, all these bands that are just major influences on me. I studied. Metallica was the most one. My influence, I know you're going to probably ask the question later, James Hetfield.
Yeah, it's the
that
next
dude.
question. Don't go too deep into that one. It's the very next question.
Anyway, that's where it all started. Was Germany is where it all came together, and then when I came back stateside, I exploded.
Right.
Totally exploded. The Boston sound from Tom Schultz. I went and got a Rockman. Playing with choruses, delays, phasers, everything else. It was a time of experimentation, and the hair bands were all over the radio. This is when Def Leppard Hysteria came out. This is when Guns N' Roses came out. This is when 90s was starting to take over. And, that's a part of that really pissed me off was when grunge took over and really the radio kind of downplayed everything else. So I was kind of on an island for a while.
Yeah, I've been like that most of my time musically because I'm maybe shocked to hear I'm a bit of a contrarian. If everybody goes, this is the best thing you've got to listen to, I'll go fuck you and I'll go listen to something else. I very rarely could sort of this is the cool thing and so even as a kid, like I started off with AC/DC and stuff, very young then in my teenage years, listening to some absolute rubbish. And at some point off where I'll show you, I've still got a clatter of 7-inch singles on vinyl. And I swear to God, there's fucking Rick Astley in it. There's fucking Tiffany.
Never gonna give you up.
Although I do contend, I think you have to go through the shitty stuff to learn to appreciate the better stuff. Is the way
Yeah.
And the only time I ever really was into something that was popular was the Britpop stuff when Oasis and Blur and all were.
Yeah.
But I then ended up back into the heavier, gradually. I never fell out of love with the metal stuff, but just it became more my focus. So when
Right.
you get back to the States, so what happened then? So new band with new people, or
So I'm still in the military. So I'm stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia. At that point, this is when the grunge scene started. This is 89, 90. Um, I remember I used to love Guns N' Roses. I just cannot stand Axl Rose's fucking voice, dude. Period. Period.
I
Dude,
understand.
Slash is the reason why I listen to it.
Yeah,
Slash is phenomenal. I've seen him with him and that other band that they used. They opened up for Kiss, dude.
was it
Slash.
was it Snake Pit or was it Velvet Revolver?
No, it wasn't Velvet Revolver. It's the what is it? Whatever the fuck you call it.
I believe he was Snake Pit for a while with the guy from.
There's another one he was with too.
He was with the guy Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots, wasn't it? The guy
This is
Scott
different.
Weiland?
This is a different one. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you on that one. Yeah, and then you'll be like, oh yeah. But yeah, when I got back at that point, so Motley Crue. What were they on? The one with the Home Sweet Home on it. The one where they're all dressed up in freaking not leather anymore.
I'm still not a Motley Crue fan. I don't mind them.
I was for a long time when they were hard. When Shout at the Devil came out in high school, holy shit, dude, that was a big game changer. I remember having to hide that album from my freaking parents, dude.
Right.
Seriously. Because big old fucking pentagram on there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my parents ain't going to have any of that shit.
Especially that time, with all the stuff in Congress and all, and
and D. Schneider going up there, his tight jeans. He pulls out that little piece of paper and he unfolds it, and starts going after him. But yeah, at that point, grunge and rap and all that crap. Yeah, Theater of Pain. Yeah,
I've never heard of that actually. I thought he went from it straight to Velvet Revolver or Snake Pit and Velvet Revolver, but no, I'll check that out.
I'll think of the name because I've seen them twice in concert. They both times they opened for Kiss. I used to go to concerts all the time.
Yeah, I've seen Slice twice.
He's great
with Miles Kennedy.
Yeah, that's the one that he sings with on that band that he's a part of.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking Miles Kennedy. He's a talented guitar player too.
Oh my God, I've sent I think I sent it to Angie to do a reaction to the Jeff Buckley song Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Right, he does that on stage just with a guitar, and he mentions Jeff Buckley and stuff. Buckley's family's there, and then at the end he tells you that it was actually Jeff Buckley's guitar he was playing when he did the thing. And he did, but Buckley's version, it's a slight twist, but his, and it's awesome, So, anyway, sorry.
We're still on question one.
All right. Honestly, we'll skim through the other 37 questions. We'll be all right, though.
Yeah, but yeah, when rap and all that had come out, I remember being so pissed off when grunge and rap kind of took the scene because I always said this. The C is no longer silent in the word rap. So all the time I used to say that, and I used to be pissed. And we used to go find clubs to do nothing, but they had the same attitude as us and fucking go headbang and play your air guitar and everything and bang your head. And that was my life, man. My neck hurt for quite a few years.
Yeah. Oh, fair play. Well, that's okay. So I think you've sort of touched on it here. So we'll jump straight to question 2 just to shut PC up. So, so what were your biggest musical influences?
think my mother was number one. She's the one that actually got me started because she, like I said, when you start out and you're a kid in the car and, everyone's singing along to the radio and everything, I think my mother was kind of the push to get me going, not only from the vocal standpoint, but, my first piano lesson, um, going and seeing a music teacher I'd never met before in my life and being as young as I was and
Yeah.
being in first or second grade and doing that. I think my mother was the biggest musical influence. Number two was AM radio. AM radio was it. I mean,
Right.
um, it was either talk radio or AM pop radio. So we
Right.
were always doing shit back in the 70s, doing that stuff. Staying going to the movies too was a big influence too, like Staying Alive, Grease, all those movies that were coming out in those days. And they were all musical type things. And my mother, of course, she's going to be the one that chooses for us to go to them.
Yeah.
But in the end, there were a lot of influences. I mean, hell, a lot of those.
I don't
Yeah,
think kids, the stuff that you and I mean, maybe slightly different for me. So I was FM. So I mean, I'm not
mhm.
that much younger than you. I'm only 30 or 40 years younger than you. So um, no, I mean, there's not that much between us. But I used to sit.
No.
Our church was Sunday afternoon or early evening. And it took 2 hours to do the top 40, and they played most of them. And you used to sit to the tape deck. Remember?
Oh
Because
yeah.
you could record the stuff off, but that's where you heard the stuff. Because MTV was about, but it wasn't massive. VH1 hadn't taken off, but it did
No. This
shortly
is all
after.
before that. I
Yeah,
mean, doing the cassette mixtapes and shit like that.
yeah,
Not only was I recording shit off that, but recording like Dr. Demento show and all that stupid shit too. You know, I, I remember hanging out with my sister's boyfriend. Going to do things. I don't know what my sister's doing, but I'm driving around, and I remember listening to Boston the first time. I remember listening to Leonard Skinner. I remember listening to ELO and buy my first albums. You know what my first albums were?
Journey,
No.
Boston. Yeah,
So ELO, the one with the blue whale on it.
yeah.
The song's the blue whale, but it's ELO's got that big old freaking UFO on that
Ah,
thing. Peter Frampton, Alive,
that
and
one.
Kiss Destroyer. Kiss
Right.
Destroyer. And this is when they were new.
Yeah,
So Kiss Destroyer, I think, came out after Alive 3, I think, when they did that studio album. So Cold Gin on that thing. Kiss was pretty big vocal influence to me because they could sing. I
yeah.
mean, the range. You try and find singers that you can sing in range with,
Ah.
but it's kind of cool.
Well, I've only just grown to appreciate them a wee bit. Um, the problem is Gene Simmons is so inherently, you know,
He's in.
unlikable. Yeah, it's not about the money. Or sorry, it's not about the music anymore. It's all about the Benjamins, and
Of
that's
course.
fine. But when you have the money he has, and the guy won't even, but it's just it ain't my cup of tea. But
He did change over the years, but I do
yeah,
have a good comment for him. He does support the troops. He always
yeah,
supported the troops and will never stop supporting the troops. So I'll give him, a mark on that. But he's the one that copyrighted the word OJ. Not OJ Simpson, but the word OJ for orange juice.
right.
That's why you don't hear it on the radio because he gets money every time it's said in
I
that
don't think you can
context.
copyright a word like that.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah,
It's kind of
he's
like you use an apple
yeah.
in a certain context.
Yeah, but yes, well, that's it. It's all about the context. They can't say, if we turn in here, what did you have to eat today? Well, I had an apple. Okay, there's a
That's
dollar.
different.
Steve Jobs.
But you know where I'm coming from. In a
Yeah,
specific context, he can sue you over it. So
yeah.
that it's all for the money now. But
But
yeah,
it's why sometimes I try not to look behind the curtain. I don't want to see what they're really like. I don't want to know how much of an arsehole, and then they're nearly all arseholes. It's
Yeah.
just to what level of arseholery they're prepared to go, because they're all artists, and I hate using air quotes, but they're just, So that's why sometimes I don't want to know. I've bands that I listened to for decades. I couldn't even tell you what the guys in it are called. I don't care. I want to put the
Right.
CD on, and is it good?
Yeah, I want to see the performance. It's like Aerosmith, Joe Perry, and
Yeah.
fucking Steven Tyler are always at each
Yeah.
other's throats.
So it was your mom when it was AM radio and all that got you into music, listening to and being interested in all. But so as a performer, then you mentioned James Hetfield. So
Yeah, he's kind of like the deal. His picking technique, uh, hit not quite a sound because no one wants to be no one wants to be a cockatiel, and sit there and freaking blast off everything that everybody's doing. But it was cool back in the day when you were studying it, and you remember my dad coming out and he goes, "How many fucking times are you gonna play that?" I remember practicing "Am I Evil?" Dude, I think I played that thing like a million times. And my dad comes out and he goes, "Put the fucking headphones on." But Hetfield, but never was a Kirk Hammett fan.
right,
I always made fun of him because he always flubbed live. But Dave Mustaine was fucking all over it. From a thrash metal perspective, there was so many great fucking players, man. Cheers, Allison. Yeah, I think James Hetfield was kind of like my cornerstone that I dug from.
So did you pick up? So he's all downstrokes. So he doesn't alternate his picking.
He does alternate his picking just on certain songs. It's all downs,
right.
Like
See,
Master of Puppets.
I had, I'd read years ago because obviously, you're taught to walk the ladder up and down. Downstroke, upstroke. And it's how you're supposed to be quicker when you get good at it. But I had read he's predominantly downstrokes, just
mostly, yeah, because he's a fast picker. Yeah. Another thing too is he holds his pick different than everybody else. Here's your pick. A normal guitarist will hold their pick like this.
Yeah.
He holds his pick like this. The reason why he does it is when he's playing so fast, if he plays it the other way, his pick turns on him.
Right. Okay.
So he holds it like this. So he's got if you ever get a chance to see his right hand, he's got a gnarly freaking thing on his finger from hitting the string.
Right.
All the time. Like a callus of some sort that kind of turned into just a growth there. You ever get a chance? Yeah.
Anyway. What's economy picking?
What's that?
What JB says economy
picking. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Okay. He's like, JB's taking the piss, isn't it?
Yeah. Them damn blues players.
So Metallica and stuff then. So he was your dad. So that's for you individually. So did you then go to create bands, or did you just look for other people that were looking at singer, slash guitarist?
So the longest band I was in was a band called Never Surrender, and it went for 11 years. And it was a band that I joined. It was two brothers. It was a bassist and the lead guitarist. And the lead guitarist was a really good lead guitarist. He actually taught lessons and stuff. And I came over and I played to audition. I actually played they said open audition. Let's see what you can do, right? So the singing, I got past the singing. That's easy shit. I played a Wasp song and it was an acoustic. Right. And while I'm playing it, they're what over song? Just, huh?
What Wasp song?
If I could only stand the stare in the mirror, would I see? It's called The Idol. Okay. And it's like E minor, C, G. It was like all, open strings playing. And while I'm playing it, they're in the back. They're adjusting my cabinet, my head on the cabinet. said, "You got it?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Keep going." I finished the song, and they said, "You're in the band." So it was just one song, and then we took off, and we had 12 versions of "Never Surrender" before it went.
So you're in the band. There's two brothers in it. At what point do you start trying to take control and dictating what we play?
Um, it's when you start making money doing no bar gigs, and you're doing openings for like rodeos,
Okay.
um, doing openings or doing wedding receptions, back, uh, you know, people's private parties and stuff. We were making $3,000 a night as a band and splitting it 5 ways.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the
back
thing
in,
is we were a cover band. We weren't
yeah,
an original band.
yeah.
So we were doing everything from Pink Floyd to Pink to freaking Billy Idol to ZZ Top to, I mean, you just kept going. We played country. I mean, we were doing 40 standards. We were doing all kinds of stuff, and it was really cool there for a long time. And then people just get ego. I call it LST. It's called lead singer's disease.
Mm,
People come in and they expect to, be, especially the lead singers, they would come in 10 minutes before the gig and plug in and go, "I need a sound check." And it's like, too late, you know, after everybody set everything up, and then they're the ones all tearing it down at the end of the night. I mean, I
and
didn't,
you always get somebody with an ego that also happens to be lazy and not quite the top drawer performer that they think they are, And then I'm not gonna harp on about somebody breaking up the Stone Aces, but
God,
um, okay. So that went from 11. So what happened when it ended? Did you finish with bands at that point, or?
at that point, I needed a serious break from it.
Mm,
I needed to focus because while I was in the band, my kids grew and I wasn't a part of it a lot. So there was a lot of trip guilting,
okay.
from that, from my wife.
Yeah.
So I stopped for a while.
You
Like
been
right
away?
now,
Sorry, but you weren't there a
yeah,
lot because you were away in the service.
huh?
Yeah, you missed a lot of the kids because you were away in the service.
No,
Yeah.
from being in the band because we were working
Oh,
so
right, right,
much.
right,
Yeah,
right.
we were working a lot. I mean, we're hauling our gear everywhere, freaking four days a week, sometimes five. We were
Oh,
playing all the time. We were one of the top bands in the circuit here in Denver, along with there was probably 10 bands that were just like on the top. When we went out, um, we always had a female lead singer. We did a lot of blues stuff, so we needed a female singer that could do uh, all the stuff that we did, Atlanta Miles, all that stuff.
yeah,
Um, in the end, I was the lead singer of the band, and it was an all male band, and it was like no one wanted to help, no one wanted to do anything. They were just coasting along, just picking up the money at the end of the night. We were making $350 in a club, split that. I think at the end we had four players at the end, but I just fucking pulled the plug on it and said I can't do this shit anymore
yeah,
because no one's helping, and no one wants to confront other people and
yeah,
cause a rift. That's the hard part about being in a band, is that you want to say something to someone, but you don't want to offend them enough where they're just fucking walking out on a gig night. You can't
yeah.
do that because you work so much. We had over 400 songs that we knew,
Right.
all cover songs.
Oh. I want to show. Whenever we're finished, I'm going to show you something.
Okay, go ahead.
No, not here, but there's a thing. It's just I
Oh,
showed JV a clip of one night. There's a British comedy troupe back in the day with Rick Nigel Planer, Rick Mayall, Adrian Edmonds, all this here. They did a thing called Bad News,
yeah,
and it's about a band. And I showed him a clip of them in the studio trying to record an album, and they're all just the way they're all just getting on, and he's laughing, going, "Yep, that's exactly what bands are like." So I'll show you.
yeah,
It's sort of like
sure.
Spinal Tap, only I think much funnier. But it's I think it's listening to you talking and JV and other people about bands, and the BC sir, I think he said times just weren't putting the practice in. They were just turning up and not practicing between gigs and stuff.
Well, it's not only that; it's the responsibility of each player. Because what we used to do in practice, we would go to practice. And the first thing that we would do in practice is work on songs that we had an issue with the week before.
Yeah.
Okay. We'd work through those, and then every week we would introduce 2 songs. We would leave the practice with 1 song, whichever one we wanted to vote on. Okay. Everything's democratic in a fucking band, unless you got a grenade, you know. So everyone would vote on a song, and you would work on it, and then the next week you bring it in, and fuck it, raising kids, having to work, doing everything I do, doing the gigs that we did, turn around and come back and being in rehearsal, you get 1 or 2 people that just fucking didn't have the time to fucking work on it. And this is like down the road. This is like 5 or 6 years into it. The first few years, everyone's gung ho because you finally got the momentum up where you got past the fucking dick ass bands and you started you sounding good.
Yeah.
Not only were we great musically, we were great vocally. If you weren't singing lead, you were a backup vocalist.
Yeah.
So we had 4 and 5 part harmonies.
Right.
Seriously. And some people, if their parts were too hard, they wouldn't sing. Everyone else would cover everything. I was running sound from stage, playing my instrument from stage, and running the lights from stage. I was helping set the drummer up, and setting my own equipment up in every gig. And then everyone else would walk in with their shit and plug in. So, fuck you. I'm not resentful at all.
No, I get it. I actually did roadie. It goes sound stupid, but technically I was a roadie. My friend's dad played in a wee 2-piece band around the pubs and clubs in Belfast, and Billy started to have health problems, and so he used to ask me to go with him, and I'd like carry in the big speakers and the speaker stands and everything, and I'd help him set most of it up, and then I'd just go away and just chill out somewhere. For he'd get me a Coke and a pack of crisps, and right, you sit up there and read a book or whatever. It meant I was in pubs and clubs and all when I was in sort of 13 and 14 and 15 and all, and just it just wasn't the done thing, so
right. Hey, do you want to take a real quick break? My wife just got home. Let me go check in real quick, and I'll be right back.
Absolutely, no problem. I'll just abuse the chat for a minute.
Okay, I'll be right back.
This is the Thrash Completed live or well, yeah. You know me, I rarely complain, BC. I'm a very easy go lucky, happy, chilled out dude. I rarely complain, but I've heard it can be cathartic, so it's the sort of thing, if it helps Rice get it off his chest, then fair play, so it'll speed up. Anyway, look, let's face it, I know none of you have anywhere else to be, and none of you have anything else to do. So stop complaining. And think of questions. Miss Piggy is a legend, is putting questions in as well. Miss Piggy's put enough questions in, we could be here until Tuesday, which is great, And I obviously missed something in the chat. I should say I do try and keep an eye on the chat, but I also try and mostly focus on the one person. Me, obviously, but not me. I focus on the person that's with me. So so why is everybody talking about dragons? What did I miss? Dragon D's nuts. Yeah, not for the first time today. And I said this last week. It's good to see Jules popping about again. I don't know. I laughing at safe. Just don't make it horny. do put it on him. Yeah, I understand that completely. Story of my life. Oh. Yeah, there's a few people being rowdy in the chat now. You JV and the Canadian, as you'd expect, So
The Canadian?
the Canadian, So okay, so we'll move along because
Sure.
some people are grumbling. Though I did point out, they're already here. They've nothing better to do, so just shut up and listen. So, um, okay, so this is so you watch the JV one, so this is sort of a 2/3 part question, but leading to a place, as you know.
Sure.
So who was the best vocalist?
I did a lot of studying on this because I watched you and JV do your thing. Number one has always been my favorite is Steve Perry from Journey. Number two, Robert Plant. And number three was Jeff Tate from Queensryche. But all three of those, my favorite vocalist is Steve Perry. Okay. Steve Perry is the man.
So Steve Perry, Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So because Journey and Cheap Trick are playing Belfast in November.
Cool.
I don't know whether because I tried listening to the music and I might go just for the crack, but I've never been a big fan, so I'm thinking about it. But
anyway, Steve Perry doesn't play with Journey anymore.
No,
they have a Filipino that's been playing with them for 12 years, I think.
Yeah,
something like that. But yeah, he can hit it like Steve too. But,
right. Okay.
But yeah, listen to the older albums. I mean, my favorite album in the world is Frontiers. From Journey. Give that a listen, man.
Right. Okay. So the best vocalist. So because the next question is who's the best frontman. So it's that's why I said it's sort of it's a two-parter. So I mean, I suppose who's the best technically sounding singer that you think of the bands that you listen to? There's no point naming Pavarotti or something, So
right.
Yeah.
I think it'd be Rob Halford.
Okay. Yeah.
Judas Priest.
Right. Yeah. He's a good voice, but you'd have him ahead of Freddie.
Well, here's the deal. Depending on the band that you put together, too. I mean, everyone looks at my name as Thrash. I'm all over the fucking board, just like you with music. Yeah. One day you're going to be one genre, and then the next day the next. I mean, from a rock standpoint, Rob Halford is one of the best freaking vocalists in the world. Yeah. From a pop standpoint, pop rock is Steve Perry for me. From a progressive standpoint, progressive rock, it's fucking Jeff Tate every freaking time you turn around. I mean, but putting a band together, if I was to put a band together, it would be a rock type band. I'd love to have a vocalist that is not only a clean singer, but he can go rough when he wants to. Rob Halford's got that all, kind of like an Ozzy. I mean,
See, I love Ozzy. I love Ozzy in Sabbath. I don't like his solo stuff. Not a single thing he's done solo that I've liked. But I love.
He changed players like his underwear.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I don't think it was the same without Tony and Geezer and all.
Oh, of course. I mean, God. Well, there's nothing like the Root too. You know what I mean? God, having Tony Iommi and fucking
absolutely. Butler and sometimes it is the chemistry. I've said this my whole life. You can put four really good players in a room. Doesn't mean they're going to have the chemistry. Doesn't mean they're going to click. And do something.
Exactly.
But vocalists, I'm just thinking, and I'm only spitballing here because I mean it's not that you've picked anybody bad, or you haven't actually strictly picked somebody yet. But what about the likes of Dio, Ronnie James?
Fucking, I love him. Yeah, I love him. God rest his soul.
Yeah,
that guy. There's a couple of players in the world. I called them trolls. I mean, it was not only Ronnie James, but the singer for Accept. I mean, you had some trolls out there that could just fucking blow. I mean,
Yeah.
they were great freaking singers, and Ronnie James he was like the elf on the shelf. I mean, he was the shit. I mean, when it came to if anyone could do anything in Black Sabbath, it was Ronnie James Dio since Ozzy wasn't
See,
there.
funny enough, they're just it pop when you said about trolls, or the name that pops into my head, and I'm not comparing him to the greats. He's just a singer that tours at the minute. Is actually Michael Starr.
Yeah,
With
Michael Starr. He's another one.
he's brilliant. I know they're a bit of a joke band.
Yeah.
They're loving piss take band, but he can fucking wheel. You know what
So
I mean?
I love vocalists that not only have a control, but have that camber that they have. The nasal camber, the
Yeah,
the head camber, but singing from the chest as well.
yeah.
Being able to do that, Ronnie James Dio was one of those that would. I mean, they had to cut a lot of his parts out when they would do live albums with him because he talks too much in between the
Right.
songs.
But yeah, ironically, I love when someone on stage talks to the uh, the audience because
Yeah.
I said, I mean, ACDC is my favorite band,
Oh,
but when you
oh,
watch
and
them,
both versions of them too.
yeah, but it's like when you're there and you're in the crowd, you want to feel like they give a fuck about you because you spent a lot of money,
Of
you've
course.
traveled, and
Well,
it
back in the
just
day, you could get a ticket for $15.
yeah,
You could freaking tailgate for free parking in the parking lot, and
yeah.
this is back when I was a teenager, and you enjoy the night for less than $50.
It's not that. It just
No,
feels so much by the numbers. I know. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm always saying Metallica make the effort to talk about the Metallica family, to talk about the last time they played Belfast, to talk about the last time they did this, blah blah blah. And other bands, Blackberry Smoke, he talked about tracing his heritage to Northern Ireland, and
oh cool,
he
yeah,
knew
that's
enough
cool.
to say, he knew enough about the rivalry between Belfast and Dublin, where he'd make a joke and the crowd booed and stuff, uh, it just it was fun because you were there and it made you feel like
Yeah,
this thing's unique.
you related,
ACDC,
yeah.
I mean, do you remember you see um was it Spinal Tap or in The Simpsons? They got the name because they were handed the wrong page with the wrong city name on it. It's like, and that's what it feels like. So so best vocalist, who are we going for then?
Sure. Rolling
Rolling.
now we're in. We're good.
Right, no, but who are you picking? Who are you saying is the best
Best
vocalist?
vocalist is Steve Perry.
Steve Perry, right? Okay, so to segue slightly, then who's the best frontman?
Man, I have to look at my notes here. It, I wanted to copy what Jeremy said, but all in all, it's Bruce Dickinson, man.
Okay,
That guy can front a band like nobody's business. He runs around the stage and jumps up and down, and even if he's winded, that guy can freaking do the song. Seriously, he's
I'm a big
awesome.
fan. I've only seen them live once. I've got one of the concerts on DVD, but I've only seen them once, and they were fantastic. Because they're a band I really like, but they wouldn't be one of my top bands. But I come out of that gig and I went, that's one of the best things I've ever seen. One of the best shows I've ever been to. And
Yeah,
I've been to hundreds of gigs, and it was right up there as one of the very best. And him running about the stage, I mean, you're right, So
yep.
I look, I'd be honest, I picked for mine. I still think Freddie's the best frontman.
Freddie's great. Yeah.
When you watch him at Wembley, I don't
Yep.
think anybody held the crowd the way he did.
Hey.
Yeah, and right. So you've picked a different frontman to your singers. So ultimately, then, so this is the first. Thrash is putting his band together. Then, so who would front your band? So this is your pick. This is the first pick for your group. So you have
Good.
to
Front the band.
This is why I'm asking the music guys, not just the likes of me. It's just the fuckwit that goes to concerts. You know how
You
to
have
put
to
a
go
band
to the
together.
root. I'm going to the roots. There's always been the fight between who's the grandfather of rock and roll. Is it Led Zeppelin or is it Black Sabbath? You know, I'm going to go back. I'm going to say Robert Plant. I mean, yeah, Plant would front my group. His presence on stage, he's got the charisma, and God, what a fucking voice, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Right. No, I think that's fair. To be honest, that's what JV picked as well, and he's always in contention for the likes of us. So I think that's a fairly solid choice for the front of band, you know. So
the only reason I didn't pick Freddie is that the group that I'm thinking of is not as poppy as Queen was. I need more purple and black in my band, you know, know that stuff.
Okay. No, fair play. So then, just on a more personal level, then, what's the best gig you've ever been to?
I was in the chat and you told me to shut up. I got the poster too. Monsters of Rock 1987 in Germany. Man, freaking Metallica headlined. Man, it was Halloween. Freaking outdoor. Right now, it's the best concerts were at Wacken. So, I mean, it's comparable to those. I mean, it was a festival, man. It was great. Monsters of Rock was cool back in the day. They call it Download Festival now, I think.
Well, see, that's what I went to, Download. Yeah. So it's that, but see, it's one of those things. As a kid, I didn't realize that Monsters of Rock was a touring festival. I thought it was only at Donington, you know, which is where I went. And then because the Monsters of Rock died for some reason, had to reinvent it, which was a shame. Monsters of Rock just
it's because of the sponsorship. Is it's all a name.
Yeah, but
I remember going to that and just having. Oh my God! I was so broke when I got home.
we did go to Wacken and stuff. You know, we talked about it, or even Hellfest in France.
I would love to go to Hellfest or Wacken. That would be awesome.
Yeah. And maybe say I haven't been. I can't be annoyed now going and lying in the mud for 5 days. I can't fucking do it. Too old.
No, because usually after the first or second date, not only you get burned out of the crap, you get burned out of the people there too. You know, people getting drunk and falling over and fucking puking and everything else. It's a big fucking party. But then, man, that last day is the headliners when they start hitting the stage, man.
Well.
Dude, everyone's pushing and shit. It's like, is it worth it?
Ironically, you know me, I'm an antisocial fucker. But when I went to the festivals, I think because everybody there's a rock guy or girl, they're all rockers. They're all there for the bands. And it's such an easy way to start talking to people. Hey, man, who are you here for? You know, at the start of it, who you're most looking for to see? Oh, I want to see AC/DC. I want to see, blah, blah, blah. And then once you're at the end, and you go, "Fuck, man, who did you see was the best?" and stuff. It was just an easy way to talk to people, and we had some great times just partying.
Well, it's those that you associate with were outside of there. You know, you could say dick to anyone. I mean, you relate with people.
Yeah, because we always found a wee community when we were there. It was great. It was brilliant, and I loved it because. Like I say, it was that common purpose, but everybody was there for the same thing. And you know yourself, rock crowds are the most easygoing crowds. You really need to be causing a fight in a rock crowd, you know. And I like that, you know. So
remember taking my daughter to an Eminem concert here in Denver and looking down at the crowd because we were in the nosebleeds, looking down at the crowd, and you can see the fucking people walking around looking for fights. And shit. You don't see that at a rock concert, dude.
No,
a metal concert,
it's just,
you don't see that shit.
No, but
everybody loves each other. Well, it's not kumbaya, but everyone's banging their fucking head to the same tune.
Well, that's true. But so which single band in, or which single concert then?
God, it just keeps popping in my head too. Iron Maiden, seeing. Somewhere on tour. So that was 86 in Berblingen, Germany. Dude, I remember that was fucking awesome, man. Where it was indoor, which is cool. We weren't out in the elements, but the half of the concert's the adventure of getting there. I was stationed over there, so taking the train to Stuttgart and then taking it to Berlin, having the concert, and then you have to leave like 20 minutes before the concert gets over so you don't miss the last train back to where you're going. Yeah, that was the most memorable. And I met a Russian kid on the way there. I'm only like 22 at that time, and in the train going there, his parents had made some wine, and he was sharing it with everyone because everyone's going to the concert. Like you said, everyone's together and everyone's having a good time. Everyone's on the same wavelength, and you know who's who. And he's passing it around, and all the people that are there, everyone's fucking chanting Iron Maiden stuff in different fucking languages and everything. Dude, it was so memorable. I miss those times because I won't get those back because Europe changed so much. There's no longer the Deutschmark and everyone's individual country anymore.
Yeah.
The Euro freaking brought everyone together. I know you guys kind of bowed out of the Brexit crap and all that shit, but this is before everything became crap over in Europe. I miss it. I really do, because it was so cool hanging with fucking people that got along with what you got along with. You know what I mean? Fucking banging heads and freaking fist pumping and raising horns and having a good time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's one thing this shit taught me is never say never. I always say. I said I would never do this. I said I would never be in camera. I said I would never join. Blah blah blah. Now
you're not a YouTuber anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No. And now you can't get rid of me. So
right.
So I always blame you, Blake and JV, for that. You were the ones that made me do this shit. So okay. So we're going to go then for a second pick for your super group then.
Okay.
Favorite keyboard player?
Keyboardist.
Hello, Joey.
Growing up playing and stuff, even though I played piano and stuff, I wasn't Joey. Joey's so gay, he sucks his own. So keyboardist. Nope. Oh God, the keyboardist for frickin' Ozzy, man. I don't know his name. Mr. Crowley.
No, if you don't know his name,
I don't know his name, but Mr. Crowley, do.
He used to defend this pick at some point, and you don't even know what he's called. So
yeah, I know. I remember seeing Motley Crue open up for freaking Ozzy when they were on that tour here in Denver.
Right, so keyboard
player. I got to look up his name, but it's the one for Ozzy. That guy. All the old fucking videos, you see him playing. That guy's pretty good. But anyway,
I'll put
there's a lot of other ones out there, but none come to mind at the moment other than. I didn't want to bring up any Rush references, but
look, you have at it. Honestly,
Geddy Lee. All right, put down Geddy Lee. I was just giving you shit.
No, see, you confused me. Do you really want Geddy Lee?
Geddy Lee.
That's okay. Because it's your. But it did
my
say
band.
Yeah, I did say there was no wrong choices. I might be regretting that statement now, but
Geddy Lee, that guy he's got more talent in his fucking pinky toe than Beyonce has.
This is the thing. I've said this with Rush. I appreciate Rush as a band, musically and all. Your man's voice just takes me to the fucking fair.
I know it does with my wife too, but I still play it in front of her. But you know what?
There's loads of great pianists that are keyboard players, but I was
great.
Keyboard players. Is it Mazarek, Ray Mazarek from the Doors?
I think so. Yeah, Ray.
It's Ray. Ray Maz something.
I wasn't a big Doors fan because I wasn't into the pothead drug shit. that stuff.
Me either in a big way, but some of their stuff just, it's just so good.
I
And then,
wasn't a big Doors fan, but I did listen to a lot of Doors, but I wasn't a big fan of the Doors.
okay.
I wasn't a big fan of like the Grateful Dead and
Me either.
Fish, and
Yeah, I
because a lot of
tried.
them were based on freaking trippy music, and even with Pink Floyd, they did great. I love Dark Side of the Moon, I love The Wall, I love all that
Yeah,
stuff, but their bassist is the trip sound. Everyone's doing the long fucking songs that are just like do a hit and you sit back and roll your eyes and listen to the fucking music. And
yeah.
I'm not into
The
that. I'm into
yeah
fucking banging my
the
head, man.
overly
I'm into
pretentious stuff.
AC/DC and
Yeah, I agree. And I love Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's one of my all-time favorites.
David Gilmour, fucking
But
great.
some other stuff's really overly pretentious just for the sake of it, and that's why. And I've said this. That's why the Beatles eventually started to go weird because they were just putting shit in on the albums. Just look what we can do, but it was crap. You know.
Strawberry Fields
Not
Forever.
even that. That's just a nice
I
pop
mean,
song, but Revolution Number 9 and stuff
yeah,
like that,
of
and then
course.
the da, da, da,
Helter
da,
Skelter and
yeah, it just after it was just it just became if you're doing it just for the sake of it instead of, I mean, if you genuinely it's what you want to do, but some guys just shut the fuck up and play a good song. So
exactly.
um
Well,
okay
another
then.
thing too is there's big turnoffs too, like Joe Petrucci and stuff. I mean, and Yngwie Malmsteen is great too. He was a great innovator and everything. But the thing is if you listen to 5 minutes of it, that's enough for your head because you just turn into a freaking rubber head at that
Yeah,
point because it's just like
yeah, yeah. But
it's like,
I don't
come
think it
on.
helps. I think at some point these bands are surrounded by people that are afraid to say to them, "That's stupid. Don't do it." Too many
Yeah,
men around. Where at the beginning you know yourself. So if you're a new band and you're working at, you're practicing in the garage or wherever or a studio and all whatever. But if something's not right, you're gonna go, guys, this doesn't sound right. We need to do this. We need to do that. But
well, and that's an opinion too. But the thing
yeah,
is when you bring other players in, you got to take their opinion into play too.
yeah,
So you got to come to a compromise when you're playing with them. So that came around a lot with a lot of the band I was in, the big band I was in,
yeah.
is that compromise is the key. Otherwise, shut your fucking mouth. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But what I mean is people around you. I mean, so if you're a big band and you're on your third album and stuff and your sales are good, the problem is the record executives or maybe the studio engineer or the producer and all, unless the producer maybe if they're super powerful and super confident, but they're instead of them going, "Look, guys, what are you doing here? This isn't a Pink Floyd song. This isn't an ACDC song. You know what I mean?
Right.
It isn't working. But bands, I think, eventually get to the point where people are afraid to say to them, "That sucks. Don't release it."
Well, you got to look too. When a band comes up, they have their freshman album. The freshman album should be the best album they ever put out because that's when they're all fresh, they're all brought together. They all came together as individuals, and they came together as a unit and put their first album out. Now I can see their sophomore album doing the same thing. As soon as they get signed, and then they're under the reins of a record company or somebody that is under control with them, especially if they go into a studio with a producer they didn't work with or
Yeah,
something like that, where the record company told them to direct them in a certain area.
yeah,
As a band member, I take resentment to that because you're muddying up the water.
yeah,
That's what happens with bands, is then that's where all the fighting happens because people want to mature. They're bringing in ideas that conflict with the core of what they started with. You need to go back to the root. It's like listening to Metallica's old stuff.
yeah,
Listen to their new stuff compared to their old stuff.
yeah,
You can hear that in it. You can hear, you can feel the happiness that they had.
yeah.
Nowadays, it's like print a book.
No,
You
that
know,
I'm been good in a while. So,
it's
no,
just rolling off the presses. They're making the money. They've been touring on the Black Album for how many decades now?
oh god, I know. I know. I still want them to keep doing that because I want to see them again if I can. But Yeah, I agree because I tend to prefer the earlier albums. I tend to,
Yeah.
it's the more raw rock and roll, honest sounding stuff I like. So for better or
Anthrax
worse,
early. I mean, listen to all the early songs. I mean, or the early albums, Led Zeppelin, fucking Black Sabbath, all that
yeah,
stuff. That
yeah,
stuff is core. I
yeah,
mean, it's beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. So all that being said, then who's your favorite band of all time?
People are gonna think I say Metallica.
Doesn't matter. Say the fuck you want. Just not Bone Thugs and Harmony.
I was moving towards Taylor, but Swift.
Political. So,
Yeah, yeah, she's already got a tight end.
that's an
Let's
American
see.
sports joke, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The American football.
Yeah. Go American sports team.
Yeah. Let's see. God, there's so many damn good bands out there. Favorite band of all time.
Yeah,
It's got to be. It's got to be. Iron Maiden is my
okay.
favorite fucking band of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, although I will, mine will change. You can ask me this every week, and sometimes it'll be one band, sometimes it'll be another. So
Hmm.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So um,
Well, and then what'll happen is I'll get away from the records. I'd say records, the music for a
I do
while,
too. I do
and
too.
then all of a sudden I'm in a Metallica mode.
Yeah,
But like you know, I'm heavily into country too. I mean,
me too. Um,
not there's only
absolutely.
a few.
Don't tell Miss Piggy.
Okay, at least let's see, Miss Piggy. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
the type of person that likes to play everything, man,
yeah.
except rap and crap and hip hop and
It's Yeah, but I agree. It's a mood thing. It's there's sometimes. I mean, I've started listening to Five Finger Death Punch again. I
yeah.
haven't listened to them in a lot of years. But sometimes you just want loud and aggressive, and sometimes you want something more chilled out and mellow and melodic. Sometimes you want a bit of country and western, and sometimes it depends.
My
You know.
daughter, who passed away, that was her favorite band, man. Five Finger Death Punch. And
Yeah,
when she passed, man, I got into them pretty heavy,
yeah,
pretty heavy. So I got pretty intimate with them.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
No, so
Good stuff.
some of the stuff's great. Yeah, I got my big mate Graham into it, but he was like, "No, I'm not going to like these guys." Blah blah blah. And I was playing in the car. He was like. He didn't say anything, but a week or two later he went, okay, uh, you were right again. Love this band,
Yeah.
But they're a band I've never got to see live. It's the year
Well,
I
and
saw
another
Return
band
to.
that got a bad handshake was Nickelback, too. I think they were awesome.
Yeah,
I
too.
think they were awesome. The only reason they got a bad rap is because what someone said on a freaking night show.
Yeah,
That was it. And it tanked them.
yeah.
Well, another thing is they kept playing the same freaking song on the airways for like 3 months. I can't remember which one it was, but I wasn't paying attention
Probably,
because I wasn't listening to radio. I was always spinning discs and listening to cassettes, and CDs and shit. You know.
yeah. No, I think you're right. I like if you don't like them, don't listen to them. But they're a band. I always give respect. See anybody that
Mhm.
can play an instrument and get on a stage and perform, even if
And
I
it
don't
gets you
like.
moving. You
Yeah,
know.
even if I don't like what they're doing, you know what I mean? Even if there's a band releasing stuff I don't like, and there's loads of them, but if they're playing instruments and writing songs, that's okay by me. I don't have
Mhm.
to like it. It's much better than people that are sampling other people's music and all the rest of it. So,
Yeah, that makes me want to puke. You hear
so
that stuff. It's like, well, rip off.
yeah, so
Where's the
um,
originality? Where's your creativity?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So,
I'm with you on
um,
that.
so who's the best songwriter of all time?
That one's a tough one.
I'm not sure I can
Songwriter.
answer this myself, but these are specifically fired at music guys, people that
Yeah,
you know are,
best songwriter. I made a note on this.
You're the first person ever that's done homework for this. Fair play.
No, I think Carla did homework too. I remember listening to her. Let's see. Let's see, we're on 9. Let's see. Alan Parsons, man.
That's somewhere I'd love to go, Sturgis.
Alan Parsons was the best songwriter ever.
I don't know that name.
Alan Parsons Project. He's the one that produced freaking. He produced Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Look him up.
Right.
He's great. He's a great songwriter. Alan Parsons, Turn of a Friendly Card. Check out that album. You will love it.
Okay.
It's more of a. It came out in the 70s, but I think you'll like it.
Okay. Well, I mean, most of the stuff I listen to is just from the 70s anyway, so.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Fair play. So we're back to your super group then.
Okay.
Who's the best bass player of all time?
Geezer Butler.
Okay.
That guy, if you ever watch him live, just watch him on YouTube. Watch him play with his freaking playing fingers, man. That guy, goodness.
See, he wouldn't tour with a band when they reformed, which was it was mostly the original lineup. But JV went for Flea. I put Cliff Burton in mine.
Cliff Burton's a close second. He's more classical, but Geezer's more honed. Even the basis for AC/DC, just his pocket playing is phenomenal. Okay. If anyone doesn't know, when you play in a band, the core foundation of a band is the bass player and the drummer. If they fall apart, the band falls apart live, big time. So listening to that stuff like freaking Geezer fucking playing, out of this world, phenomenal. I love Geezer. He's a great player.
Yeah, I know I'm a big Sabbath fan, especially the early stuff. Because one of my all-time favorite albums is still Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Yeah.
And weirdly, it's I have a Black Sabbath short out, and one of the songs on it is Sabracadabra.
Yeah, it's a great song.
But it's amazing how many people don't know it, because I constantly get asked.
Metallica did a cover of it.
Yeah, how about on the Garage Inc., and it was when I see questions pop up about that video, it's nearly always what's song 3, and at the beginning you can't remember what order you put stuff in or what songs. You have to go out and watch your own video. Now I know what song 3. Yeah, it's Sabracadabra from Sabbath.
I put on. It's an album. I don't keep track of which tracks what. I mean, Sweet Leaf.
Absolutely.
All that, dude.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I love that, because I did a top 10 of those of Sabbath, and I think there's two. I'd Spiral Architect and all on it. And people were like, "Yeah, you can't put that on." Well, I did, because I really like it.
Well, did. Get over it.
I always push back on that one. Well, I tell you what, you show me your video, you show me your top 10, and then we'll fucking judge. If you don't like it, then fuck off.
Right.
I don't care.
There's a shovel, and you can go to China if you want.
Yep, absolutely. So, okay. So, what band? Oh, here we are. I'll put it up. What band do you regret not seeing live?
Rush.
I've never seen Rush.
Never saw them live. I was always on call or doing something where I couldn't go to the fucking concert.
But they still tour.
No, they're Neil died.
Sorry, one of them died last year, didn't they? So that's only.
That was like 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, I've lost track. I thought it was more recent than that.
But yeah, I was. I have friends, from high school that they're 50 miles from me, and they're like, "You want to go to the concert?" I'm like, "Shit, I gotta work." On the weekend when they were coming, and I was like, "Fuck." It was always like that. When Rush came to town, there was always something going on. I always wanted to see Rush live.
And it's always up next. We'll see them next, especially in North America.
Yeah.
Because
they do the tour.
They tour North America all the time. We don't get bands very much hitting Europe, and they almost never come to Northern Ireland.
Well, Belfast, I mean, yeah, in
The big,
Glasgow and
well, for us, unfortunately, we're only a wee country. There's only
yeah.
1.7 million in the whole of Northern Ireland.
Oh, a wee country.
A wee country, and oh, that's we you know we talk about it. We call it. We'd say our wee country. We genuinely, it's you'll see that all over the place
Yeah,
in Northern
no,
Ireland.
I'm just giving you shit.
Um, but there's only 1.7 million, and crucially, there's not a big enough venue for a proper, big act,
Yeah,
and so that's a massive problem. And because it's a
yeah, the
small country,
population's all crunched together.
yeah, and we and then unfortunately, fuckwits like Taylor Swift can come and do 5 nights at the Odyssey,
Of course.
and they'll sell out because all the sheep will go and fucking bar at the stage when
Yeah.
she's bending over and oh yeah, I'll maybe do that myself. But no, when she's got a backing track, you know what I mean. But there's no real discernible fucking talent there, and there's no. That's not true. She can read
She's
apparently.
talented, but like I saw you on
Yeah,
JV. I saw you
yeah,
in JV and you were talking, you're like, I don't know one fucking song that she
yeah.
does.
That's it.
I have no clue what she's sung.
Yeah,
It's
and
because I don't pay attention to that because it's not in my wheelhouse.
yeah. Although I've seen clips of her when she was more country, when it was just her and the guitar. She
Yeah.
does have a good
She
voice.
plays piano, she's a great vocalist. Yeah. I mean,
And let's face it, you'd bang the life out of her given the opportunity. But
that's why
that doesn't.
she's involved with a football player. I mean,
Yeah,
a American football player.
yeah. And that she's pretty, so that's why the videos were popular. That's
I
why the
wonder
posts
who
were
gives up
popular.
first.
Well, I'm
Who needs the ice bath afterwards?
so no, we'll not touch that one. So
Right.
right. So another one then for your group then. He's
Sure.
the best lead guitarist of all time.
Slash, dude.
Okay.
Slash. I love Slash. That guy is written for everyone. He's written from Cher to, I mean, all kinds of bands he's written for. He's not a show off. He always stays to the curtain. He's not like a
Yeah.
John Petrucci or a Joe Satriani or I know that JV had said like Eddie Van Halen and Yngwie Malmsteen and stuff like that. Slash is
He ended
go
up
ahead.
with Jimmy. He picked Jimi Hendrix in the end.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix is what he picked, but he was going through his thought process. But Slash is he's more my kind of guitar player. Um, he's got flash, but he's got soulfulness. He's got clarity. He's got comprehension. He's got the words that I'm looking for in a guitar. It talks to me.
And I have to point out he's British.
He's British.
Born in Birmingham, so and because let's face it, we all know all the best music all comes from Britain. It just has.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like Def Leppard. I mean, Def Leppard used to be my favorite band in fucking junior high, man. They came from Sheffield. Birmingham is where Black Sabbath came from.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen Slice twice.
Yeah,
both
great,
times. Man. He'd only started doing the stuff with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators.
Yeah, so Conspirators, that's the one.
Yeah. So they weren't massive, the way Guns N' Roses were. But they were like, Download always is the headliner, and then the second headliner on the different stage. On a Friday night, they used to they'd pick a weird band on a Friday night. So they did the Prodigy one night. And I know a lot of guys love the Prodigy, but I didn't mind them when I was younger and I was going out to disco and stuff, But,
yeah.
But Slash and Miles Kennedy were on the other stage. And I said, they should headline. It was so good. They should headline.
Miles can sing like a motherfucker too. I mean,
brilliant. So
and I do have a question for Slash. How the fuck does he keep his top hat on while he's playing? That's where it doesn't move.
Yeah. See,
he must have hairpins.
Or maybe it's just so greasy it just sticks. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've sliced on. It's the only one we agree on so far. I've sliced on my list. I put him in mine because and I got a wee bit of wee bit of hate on it. Going, no, you can't put him in. Well, again, I can, and I did because
Yep.
I say this a lot, and I'm repeating myself, but we always have to presume that people haven't seen this bit before. There's a difference between a really great guitar player, I think, and being a real great guitarist because you've got guys there that are really, really technically proficient, and they could cover other people's stuff, and they could maybe put a wee twist on it. But that's a lot different than sitting down and writing Stairway to Heaven. That's a lot different than sitting
Right.
comfortably numb or patience or whatever. So I think that has to come into it. So
Of course. Yeah.
okay, so that's another one down. So
Cool.
stick with the guitars here. Who's the best rhythm guitarist of all time?
I want to say James Hetfield, but God, rhythm guitarist Michael Wilton from Queensryche.
Okay. Rhythm guitar. What was his name?
Michael Wilton.
I'm gonna have to check out Queensryche because you and JV and all keep talking about them. Queensryche. Although, in fairness, between the pair of you, your track records recommendations is a bit spotty because you both told me to go and listen to Rush and I hated them and there was one recently JV sent me one particular song and I went, yeah, the song was good, but it went on for about 9.5 minutes, and 4.5 minutes at the end was the same line over and over again. I was standing like
I can't stand that shit. The music.
Because I was standing doing the dishes, so my hands were wet and everything. I couldn't go over to turn it off, and after we would have had to, I was very nearly going to smash my phone. I don't want to hear this anymore. Shut up. Although he did recommend Rival Sons, and Rival Sons were awesome, So,
yeah.
But
yeah, check Queensryche, either the Warning album or New World Order.
Okay,
that's their older stuff. That's 80s.
I'll add them to the list. Although to be honest, I tried listening to stuff on Spotify after we talked to JV about the music the other week. At Spotify, unless you're paying for it, it's a pain in the hole because the adverts pop up in the middle of the album and all.
I don't. If it's not on YouTube, I don't usually go out to iHeart or Spotify. Yeah.
Although I still support music. I've always done it. I buy albums, even it's digitally now, but I still go on the iTunes and go, I'm buying this, I'm not streaming it. If I like, I'll stream it, I'll watch it on YouTube to see what I think. But if I like it, I want it on my phone. Because, it's part of the reason me and Graham and Wesley, see any remotely rocky band that come to Northern Ireland, we go to see them. We want them. We want rock bands to tour. We want them to come here. So we've seen Saxon 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, Saxon.
Airborne 4 or 5 times. But anytime they come here, we'll go and watch them, And even bands like Ugly Kid Joe we went to see.
Ugly Kid, Joey.
Yeah. It was a Cleveland act, We went to see them just because they were a rock band coming to Northern Ireland. So we just thought, right, we'll go and we'll support, So, okay, so who's the best drummer of all time?
You want to hear it? You ready?
Yeah.
Neil Peart.
Yeah. I knew that anyway.
I knew you did.
Look, I've heard his stuff. I think he's brilliant. I won't even try and fault you for it, because the man is brilliant.
When that guy can do a 3-hour show and do a full drum solo, which is 20 minutes.
Right.
Every time they play. It really took the shit out of him, but that guy always gave 100% when he played live and in the albums, of course. But yeah, God bless his soul. That guy was, like JV was talking about, this guy can change time in a heartbeat and
that's unusual for a drummer, isn't it? be able to go
Well,
through anything like
the
that.
way he played it, the way he scripted it, and the way that he studied, because all the way to the end of his life, he studied with other drummers, these master drummers that are out there, and tried to learn everything, how to play the snare a different way, the finesse on the snare and everything else. He was always learning, which was cool. He was a master but a learner at the same time.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's a pity to me that I can't get into the band because I know musically I really like it. I can't get past the vocals. I just can't. So, I can't even remember
Just
what
listen
drummer I.
to Viva la Strangiato. There's no vocals in it.
Yeah, maybe. I think
You'll
maybe I
you'll
was
fucking
wrong.
get blown away on the guitar playing too.
Yeah, yeah. I like probably. There you go. Iris of the Nations. Like, how many channels do you need, man? God's sake. Hey, they've all, you know this. They've all watched Mr. Beast being interviewed, and they all think, like, that's the way to do it. I'm gonna be him, you know. So, um, okay. So that's your band pick. We'll recap it at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So, what is your favorite owned instrument and why?
At the moment, it's this little guy right here.
Okay.
I need to fix her. But this guy, I played
Apple.
live
Okay.
almost every gig I've done, and if you notice, the nut is broke on the high
Right.
E string. I gotta
Okay.
replace it.
So I know. So
But
you like the Telecaster.
I
No,
love I love the Korean model fenders. I have an American that's blue, but this maroon one has been my mainstay since probably 90 91. I've had
right. Okay.
this 1991. I bought this.
But
Um,
you've got proper fenders as well as the Squire then.
yeah, I got a proper fender. I modified it because it didn't have the crunch that I needed, so I put Diodarios and a different uh, pickup on it,
Right.
pick guard, I should say. But this one is standard coils on this one. If you notice, I don't have the trim set up where you can dive bomb if you wanted
Right.
to, because I'm not a dive bomber. Plus, with fenders, they usually go out of tune when you do that. So,
Right. Okay.
but this is the baby. I mean, this is the guy that got me through all the gigs, most of them, and then played acoustic on stage as well with my acoustic guitar. So,
Right. Okay. So, but of all, so that's your favorite then.
yep, I got this thing for under $300 in 1990, around 1991. I don't know the exact date, but
Oh, fair play. So, okay.
I've had all kinds of guitars, but I've sold a few of them too.
Yeah. You can't keep everything. You just can't.
Nope.
Yeah. Short of a lottery win anyway. You have to move stuff on sometimes. So what's your
Exactly.
favorite current band? So somebody that's still
There's two of them.
active.
And they're not in the rock area. Like I said, I stretch my arms a lot. The reason why I do that is because it helps you educate as a musician and a player on the differences between the genres. So right now, I
I'm
don't
gonna have to
consider
pour
it new.
myself a wee drink while we're talking. So.
You do your thing. Um, there's a lot of hypocrisy within the country music realm where the new country music doesn't reflect what country really is. And I
Mm,
agree with that from the standpoint of there's you hear a lot of rapping in it. They call it what do they call it? Um, yeah, my
rap.
my brain just went. But anyway, there are two there are two individuals that I've been studying a lot lately. One is Luke Combs,
Mm.
and the other one's Morgan Wallen. Because the reason why I say that is that they write their own stuff. They do it themselves. They write the songs themselves.
Was Morgan Wallen the one that just died?
No, Morgan. No, the one that just died is Toby Keith.
Ah, right, okay, yeah,
Toby Keith, he's an icon. He's been around forever. Yeah,
yeah.
he's been around forever. But Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs, they've taken the new country, but kind of kept the flavor of the old country with them. Where the new country stuff that's out now is it's got a lot of pop and rap influence in it, hip hop. Some of it is really shitty. A lot of it is real shitty. When you sing the same lyric over and over again throughout the same song and you're a number one song, dude, that's wrong, dude. They have writers out there that just they're pumping the music to these new stars that are out there, and they're making number one fucking records out of them. It's not about the record anymore. It's about the single. It's the single going top. You know.
I see. There's an American. So there's a couple I've been listening to. I mean, obviously, of current band. Well, you've heard me talk, but there's a British band, Nothing But Thieves. I love them to bits. You know, really pleased to go and see them there in November. Love them. Not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. You know, I love those. Blackberry Smoke are fantastic.
Okay.
JB, yeah, JB and Blake and that they actually cover a couple of Blackberry Smoke songs, so it's sort of you know them, don't you?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
I think bearing in mind what you're saying, they're like a country rock band from Georgia.
Yeah.
And I think there's the Whippoorwill something is the name of the album. It's fantastic. It's well worth a nosy. There's your JV's agreeing, you know. So
yeah. I want to interject here, Miss Piggy. I don't have a thing against rap or hip hop or anything. It's just when it comes to country music, country's got a soul that I grew up with because I'm from a country family. I mean, I wore cowboy hats and cowboy boots until I was 12. I don't think I owned a pair of freaking sneakers until I did sports in school. I mean, country's always been around. I mean, Merle Haggard. I mean, John Denver. I mean, he's folk anyway. But anyway, Johnny Cash, all that stuff. That was all the heartland for us, that type of stuff. But introducing that with, I mean, the new country, it's more pop than anything. Because I tell my wife all the time, I change the channel all the time. I'm like, that's not even country anymore, honey. And I move on. Move on to either put my shit on or move to the next station. I'd rather listen to commercials than a lot of the shit that's out there right now.
No, I agree with you almost 100%. But I think there's a few, there's so Blackberry Smoke are brilliant. I think you're like their tagline on the tour is they're too rock for country and too country for rock, and they're brilliant.
If you can meld it, that's awesome.
There's a fantastic. They do a fantastic cover of the Man of Constant Sorrow. And that cover, they do it live. It's brilliant. Just on the stage somewhere, and it's because they're all American. Your man's got the neck beard and all. It's a bit weird, but they're a great band. And there's another band I listen to a lot at the minute. I say a lot as a country act, not Shane Smith and the Saints. I quite like them.
Okay.
Never heard of them. Yeah, to be honest, they were on. I was watching Yellowstone. And they're playing on it, and I went, well, okay, I'll check that out. And some of the stuff's brilliant. There's a video of them doing in an old church. They're doing a set, and the old is it Willie Nelson song, and I'm gonna struggle to remember the name of the fucking songs. I'm a moron.
Whiskey River.
No, it's the two name one about them ending up in Ohio. Oh no, that's gonna bug the life out of me. I am gonna where's my channel?
Miss Piggy, I know. Music evolves. It always does. The thing is some of us are stuck in a ditch. It's because we can't keep up, I guess. we're getting too old.
Sorry, I'm just. The
Hobo. Real music
Poncho.
broke up.
Yeah, Poncho and Lefty. You know,
Poncho and Lefty. Oh yeah.
it's an old song, but I didn't know it was an old song. But these
Mhm.
guys do it, and the sound in the church is just fantastic. And he
Oh.
makes sure he sings, but he makes sure they all get a go wee solo and stuff, you know. And you know, it's fantastic. So, but yeah, but definitely of all of them, Blackberry Smoke, the Whippoorwill Wear, the Whippoorwill
Yeah.
something the album's called. It's fantastic. I do really like it. Some great tracks on it, you know. Okay,
The other
then
thing
so
too with like Miss Piggy's, you know, with the evolution of music, who knows what's next? Because you know, remember we were all playing JV and everyone was with AI. Dude,
yeah,
it's changing before our eyes right now too, where um, people are gonna, you know, after AI starts doing its thing, people are gonna be wanting the old stuff back that you know, real singers. I mean, it's insane. I mean, with the way AI is, I mean, there'll be the band, there'll be the singer. All you have to do is just kick back and listen. And dude, there's no talent there. It's all computer generated, and there's no soul. There's no meaning. There's there's nothing in it. Especially you know back in the day when you know people were writing from their heart. I mean, you can't get that from AI.
yeah, yeah. Look, I've argued this. I don't think AI's musically AI is not the bugbear that people think it's going to be. Because I mean, these are, with all due respect, these are geeks sitting in a fucking studio, you know, in a kind of computer programming it to do stuff in, you know, San Fran or whatever, you know. They can't, you know, if they knew how to program or to write a good song, they'd be writing a good song. They wouldn't be fucking programming, you know, Google or whatever. And as I said, it takes a Slash or a Hetfield or a Hendrix or a, you know, to write a good tune. They have to have it in their soul. They have to feel it.
Right.
They have to love it, you know.
They're
So,
going to try it though. They're going to see how far they can push it though first.
yeah, you know. I
If
mean,
they
I'm
can
not
make money off of it, they're going to go
yeah.
with it.
Well, absolutely. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It isn't. It's going to be a bad thing. But unfortunately, you're going to have to have old grumpy fuckers like us that don't want the. You know, we want to hear proper music. You know.
Yeah, we want to see performers. We want to see talent on stage.
Absolutely. You know. Okay. Question 7. So I know the answer to this one's Rush, but so who's the most overrated band of all time?
Oh, what did I put down here? Did I put anything? Let's see here. I was watching your video while I was working, so I wasn't really paying attention. Madonna.
Not a band. I agree.
She is a band.
Like, she,
All right, Maroon 5.
okay. Really?
No.
There's bound to be something. Eric said Nirvana, and we got grief for it.
That and all the fucking 90 grunge shit. So Nirvana, let's see, Pearl Jam, all that shit that was just played over and over again on the fucking radios in the 90s.
Yeah.
Over and over again, I mean as in repetitive over and over again. Oh, GNR, I wouldn't say they were overplayed. I think they had a really good, even though I don't like the singing.
Not overplayed, overrated.
Yeah.
I disagree, but the only reason behind it, the point is, if we all like the same stuff, it would be even more boring than it is now. So we have to sort of like different stuff, you know.
I really couldn't think of anything. I think that's why I put Madonna.
There's bound to be somebody.
My first wife's all she could listen to was Madonna, and I got so sick of it.
Well, yeah, there's a British comedian called Phil Jupitus, and he hated her, and he just said she was a karaoke singer that got lucky. And to be honest, I it's not far wrong, and I didn't mind her early because like I'll be honest,
she threatened to blow up the White House. How good is she?
They all do that. They're all fucking communists. They're all hypocrites.
They're all part of Hollywood.
Yeah, you know. So fuck them. Right, okay.
I'm just fucking around.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So we'll settle for Madonna, but yeah, especially the way she turned out now.
Now overrated band. Okay. Current music scene.
What do you think of the current music scene?
The music is the music's on the back burner with everything, because everything that's going on right now has to do with people making the music, and that's the issue. The whatever record companies or Spotify or whoever is in control of this shit, I think they're lost. I think music really, it's those that are coming from the gutter, from their gut and everything, that are playing the local gigs. That stuff is the music that matters. The shit that's mainstream right now is crap.
Yeah, yeah, it's mass produced. You know,
Yeah.
um, it's crap.
They have control. They have control over what's number one, because they all own the radio stations. iHeart, all of them own all those radio
Yeah,
stations. So
it's just
they tell you what to listen to, and they're the ones that run the CMA awards.
yeah,
They're the ones that do the country music awards. They're the ones that control it all. That's why you saw Alan Jackson get up and fucking walk out a couple years ago at the fucking country music awards, because they were playing pop on the fucking stage with Beyonce and whoever.
uh,
It's not the music. It is.
yeah. The
There's no
problem is that there's for me
control.
there's two things. So it all is so it sounds exactly the same because it's all auto tune crap. It's all written probably with the same group of writers and producers and all, and
Mhm.
it's fucking it's terrible. And the problem then is you can't tell the difference between one shitty song and the next. It could be the same generic singer singing it, and it's terrible.
Right.
But I also think that there's this unfortunate fascination, and I mean, I don't want to speak ill of our friend Joey, but it's this idiot that goes to see the fucking acts just because they're big names, not because they're good or they're talented. He just goes because they're big and they're famous, and people follow at events, and they're a big part of the problem. I think I know people who went to see Lady Gaga when he visited. Sorry, when she visited. Um, when she visited Belfast, and the guy played guitar and he was a musician and stuff. And I'm like, why are you going to say? Well, it's Lady Gaga. I went, oh fuck, such crap. You know what I mean? And I
I
say
know
this
it's
a
all
lot.
opinion too, but
Yeah, but well, the evidence. Well, there's two very important things. I'm I'm nearly always right. Okay, so we just take it as read that I'm right most of
just
the
get
time.
used to it.
Yeah, but the thing is, we still listen to if you listen to some. I mentioned Rihanna the other week. 9 number 1s. Apart from that stupid Umbrella song, couldn't name one. Couldn't name me a
Well,
single Taylor Swift song. I couldn't name me a single Lady Gaga song.
I
Couldn't
look at
focus
it
you.
this way. I look at it this way. It's like back in the '90s when grunge came out, and I was such a metalhead and everything. I was so anti-grunge and everything. Shut the shit off, and I fucking listened to my own fucking CDs and
Yeah,
everything, and just knocked it out until something came up that smacked me in the face and said, "Oh, so there's some fucking real music out there." You know what I
yeah.
mean?
But,
Right
but
now, it's pretty much it. You really have to search for some real fucking talent now.
yeah, but
Everything is the voice. Everything's the mask.
but
Everything is on. Everything is on TV that is telling you what you should listen to and
yeah,
what is popular and what's the next best thing.
but
You
that's
can't even have an opinion on it.
but that's my point. So the three acts I named, massive acts, sell stupid amounts of concert tickets and all, have number 1s and all. But I mean, when was the last time I stumbled across a Lady Gaga song? Probably 10 years. They're not going to be playing this crap in 10 years. Never mind
I
20
don't
years.
even know a name of her song.
One that poker face because it was everywhere.
Oh,
That's it.
oh,
Yeah, pa pa pa. Yeah, fuck off.
yeah.
When wash your balls, fucking. Um, but you're still listening to the Beatles. You're still listening to Stones. You're still listening to Pink Floyd, Metallica, Aretha Franklin, Sam Cooke, all
You're
these
going
guys.
back to your foundation.
Yeah, but we're still listening to them now because they were great and they're still
Yeah.
good. But the shit that's out now, I guarantee you, apart from somebody with a bit of nostalgia and maybe at a reunion disco or whatever, they'll be sitting watching MTV or whatever the fuck it's called these days. and they'll go, "Oh, we'll play these hits from the 20s," and oh, I remember that, but it's like a fleeting memory, and then they move on. But you'll still go back and listen to Sabbath, Zeppelin, Queen, say all these bands. It's just
Hmm.
so
Yep,
um
I'm with you on that. Yeah,
and
I am.
and, and I think that's part of the problem. It's just so generic and dull, and so okay. So what musically are kids missing out on that we had?
um, instruction, correct
Yes.
instruction. Knowing theory, knowing where music came from, knowing instruments. I mean, everything's electronic. Everyone can produce in their basement, um, and you don't even have to know a lick of freaking music. Can you read music? I can
Yeah.
read guitar. I can read regular music, especially piano music, but on guitar and stuff, I know tablature and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
um, learning how learning the theory of music and knowing your instrument and everything that goes with it, especially like guitars, knowing the different modes and knowing the different structures, knowing the five positions on a freaking neck. I mean,
Yeah.
just people don't know that. What they do is they cheat. It's like back in the 90s, what they did is they tuned down the freaking E chord so you could do a one finger chord
Yeah.
and one finger of fucking guitar shit. I mean, and make a record and fucking go number one. It's I learned to play with my ear, but in the end, to be able to play right, you need to know the instrument. You need to know everything behind the instrument that you're playing. If you don't know your instrument, then you're always going to come up against a wall.
This man knows his instrument intimately. So
It's like
um, yeah.
okay, but that's
This
the thing is kids don't know music nowadays.
I
They
I've
listen
seen
to it, they
I've
don't
seen
know it.
this. So um, I've heard the girl sing. The girl's got a great voice, genuinely. So I've seen her I've seen her on stage with Metallica stuff, and she's really good voice, and she claims to be a metalhead. So why produce the fucking genetic dull piece that she does?
Beyonce just put out a fucking country song.
Yeah, I've heard it's terrible. Um, so and that's my point. I mean, Lady Gaga can sing. I'm not saying she can't. I'm just saying the stuff she produces is crap. But when you
Like I said, it's always an opinion because you're gonna say it sounds like shit. Then you got someone out there that says it sounds wonderful. It's the
yeah, but
best thing I fucking heard since sliced bread.
yeah, but it's my show. So
It's
it's
my
my
show.
I'll be just quickly for me. I
Sure.
think what kids miss out on album art. When an actual a full album, the artwork on
Uh huh.
the cover. I think you should love going through just the old records.
Hell
As a
yeah.
kid, and just looking at them going, "I said this."
Just
That's
like
why.
Iron Maiden, they always put out the open, double disc. I mean, not only did you have the artwork, and even when you went to a concert too, they gave out the handouts. I've
Yeah,
showed you that before,
yeah,
like
yeah,
where the lyrics on the album sleeves,
yeah.
and yeah, it's beautiful. That was half of it.
If it wasn't for the album art, I wouldn't have stumbled into ACDC. It was a
Yeah,
high voltage album for me because
yeah.
as a
He's
kid, yeah, because I didn't know anything about it. I was just a kid with pocket money, and I was down in the co-op, and it was a big record store in Belfast at that point, one of the biggest. Let's just go through them. Oh my god, that looks cool. I'm taking that one, and I happened to buy Queen Night at the Opera for the same reason because it just was a cool album. And
yeah,
then you think back, we're talking about this Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, the big double open album, and one
yeah,
side sort of like Heaven and Hell. It was very much Black Sabbath, inside out,
yeah. Hmm.
So
Yeah, the
I
artwork on the albums. I
yeah,
miss. I'm glad they're kind of coming back, but the thing is with the way music's going right now, I think it's kind of dwindled a little bit,
yeah,
dwindled. But
it's a
I
niche.
love the vinyl. I mean, that was cool.
I have a
The
load.
smell, everything.
I've no record player, but I've a load of albums, so
Yeah.
including the big talk about the album art, the Saxon. Crusader album, and it opens a big double album. Just
Yeah.
love that. It's probably my favorite Saxon song as well. So okay, so question 20: what is your musical guilty pleasure? So what do you listen to that's not cool and it's not quite metal and it's like, and you sort of, I mean, is it
I
after all? Is it Madonna?
You know how we talk about like lyrics and stuff that are like repetitive, that it sounds like shit, right? There's some music repetitiveness that I actually like, that's kind of in the electronic realm, kind of a Daft Punkish type stuff.
Yeah.
Like Daft Punk, when they did the soundtrack for Tron 2 in
Yeah.
2010. Um, there's some of that electronic stuff that I'm kind of into right now, where I'm just dealing with the rhythms, and because I'm going to get back to recording here soon. And I've just while I work during the day, I have to have something numbing behind me. Like when I sleep, have like a sound of like rain, or
Right.
wind,
Okay.
or whatever the fuck it is. But while I'm working, I always have these things that are going on in the background, that are kind of a electronic, but it's not a rave type electronic dance stuff, but it's very rhythmic, and it's got a good beat to it, and it's not overwhelming. And I've been kind of downloading that stuff a bit and listening to it in my truck while I'm going back and forth in between the barn. So I have like 30 minutes in between each trip, just
Right.
listening to
Okay.
this stuff. So kind of the some electronic stuff that's going on, and then just studying lyrics on songs that I'm learning to play again. So I had a lot. I had a big catalog that I used to play, and since I've backed away from it, I haven't played live since 2009. So I've lost a lot of that. So I'm trying to get back into it, so I can get back in my instrument, get loose again, and get up to snuff with it, so that I can record and not sound like a piece of shit again. But it's pretty much my guilty pleasure, is this listening to this electronic stuff that's kind of pumping me up, and kind of putting me in a positive mode, and
Okay.
getting me back into to the recording again. So
Really?
yeah,
Jamie, the first CD I actually bought was
the
Rhythmics.
Eurythmics rocks.
I didn't even it was the greatest hits. I didn't even have a CD player. I had to wait till my brother went out, my oldest brother, and we still share. He went out, and I would sneak into his room and try and play my CD. We'd stand looking at the windows to make sure he wasn't coming home with the bus or something. So yeah, Annie Lennox had a great voice. Miss Piggy, you ask away. Absolutely, you ask as many as you want. Um, okay, so this is the plus one, really. Well, there's a plus two, but you see that in a wee second. So, what advice would you give to an aspiring musician?
You have to be yourself. You have to. You can't fall into the groove that's going on right now with what's going on with the music scene right now, because all you're going to do is just get lost in a you're going to get lost in a pool big time. You have to be able to have something that stands out, that as if that's what every aspiring musician wants to stand out. But the thing is that you have aspirations, and then you have that you've learned from. So you're bringing up everything you've learned and trying to make something new out of it, and it's kind of hard to do, especially nowadays, because everyone produces from their basement
Yeah,
now. You're not spending hundreds of dollars a day just be in a fucking studio.
yeah,
So to be able to produce something that's good and it's going to catch someone's ear is next to impossible anymore. But you have to be yourself. You have to produce your own thing. If you think you got a niche in something, go for it. Because if you think you got something, study, and do it, and see if you can make something for yourself. If not, it's just self gratification for me
yeah.
when I play. Because I know I'm not going to make it. Um, you can strive to go beyond that, but in reality, you're not going to make it. especially nowadays in music, because everything is controlled. Everything is controlled.
Yeah.
But if you're a musician, play to your heart. Your heart's going to tell you what to play,
Right.
and just do it and move forward with it. And if people boo you, fuck them. I mean, you're doing what you want to do. I've never been booed on stage except for, when, technical difficulty or something happens. But
Yeah. Yeah. That
usually
happens.
people are forgiving. But if you're, you got to do what you think is right. And if people think it's stereotypical, let them think that. I mean, just do what you want to do.
Oh, fair play. No, I like that. Be true to yourself, you know.
Yeah.
But you always says you have to sleep your way to the top, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
On my tour bus.
this isn't a question, but it is and it isn't. It. So what are you going to call your supergroup then?
Free beer.
You know, you can't do that. It's been done
I
probably
love that
about
on the placard in
30
front of
times.
the the gig. It says free
Yeah,
beer Monday and Tuesday, or Friday and Saturday. Those are the best ones. So,
yeah.
oh God. Um, I would. I was going to go back to my first band name, which was the Abyss.
I like that though. I think it's a good name.
Back in the day where you would go like to a carnival or something, and they had these really cool paintings that were on mirrors, and they would put them in like a cardboard frame for you. You take them home. You ever seen those?
No,
So back in the day, it was kind of like a tile. It was a mirror tile,
right,
and you would be able to draw whatever you wanted on it, and then they would put it in a cardboard frame, and you would go home with it. Well, I made one that had where I drew the abyss, and then the Y would go down like into like a black hole, like an abyss.
right.
I wish I still had that, but that's how I got the first name of my band back in junior high.
Right. I think it's a good name. I think it's a good name. So, um, right. Are you okay to do a few questions from the chat?
Sure.
No,
Miss
um,
Piggy?
no, Miss Piggy's brilliant. I love seeing Miss Piggy's name in the chat because
Oh
she's
yeah.
brilliant. She always brings the questions.
Well, she asked me too. She goes, This week, can I ask you some questions?" Like, yeah, hell yeah. Do it.
We'll try. We might do because to be honest, she's actually written more questions than I have. So, um,
We
which is
do.
great.
We get a pee break too.
Yeah. So explain why you feel rap and hip hop music is trash.
um, I didn't say they're trash. The thing is it was a fight between, especially back in the '80s, um, when rap came out. It was counterintuitive to where rock was going. The hair metal, the thrash metal that was coming up, the new wave of British heavy metal that was coming up. It was always a fight in between, especially in the barracks, because in the military, everyone lives together. So black, white, brown, yellow, you name it, we're all living together. So we have to deal with each other's music. So always, the brothers always had the loudest boom boxes. So
Yeah.
you know that's all it was. It was all kind of rib jabbing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it went beyond rib jabbing, but um, I was always a rock person and never was into rap or hip hop. My kids grew up on it, never had an issue with it. Took my kids to hip hop freaking concerts and rap concerts. Didn't have a problem with it. It's just that back in the day, there was always it was
I,
the
I
conflict.
for what it's worth, I can give my take on it, right? Because I'll give almost any music a try. If I don't like it, I don't like it. And there's almost always something. Some of Eminem's early stuff was good. I like a bit of Dre from time, Dr. Dre from time to time. So there is stuff that I like. My problem mostly with it is they're not sitting writing music. They write the words and they perform the words, but they're almost
I can
always
sing big butts. I mean,
yeah,
I like big butts, and I cannot lie. I can
but
do
they're
that
almost
from my
always
band.
just sampling somebody else's music.
Right.
They're
Doodle-doo,
taking somebody
doodle-doo-doo-doo.
else's and they're sampling it, and then they remix it on it. They're not sitting writing the music. It, it, it's an art form. A good rapper is an artist. Writing those and performing it. You need to be, like most things you can learn the skill, but it doesn't make you good. The great ones are great at it, and it is an art form, but they're not creating the music. That's what takes me. And to be brutally honest, I'm sick of hearing people singing about how many hoes they have and how much money they have and how they're going to cap this and that. It's stupid. It's pathetic, and then after 20 years of it, it's boring. It's part of even probably why Eminem broke out so big because he wrote about different things. So if they would sit down and write their own music and all that, I would be much more accepting of it. So that's
I
all.
mean, there's nothing wrong with MC Hammer and all those. I mean, we all dance at stuff in the dance clubs, and there's no problem with that.
And like
It's
I
just
say,
that there was always a war.
yeah,
There was always a war between rap and rock.
yeah.
I mean,
And you're right. It's absolutely subjective. Okay,
yeah,
if we all like the same stuff, it would be dull. So I get that, but that's one of my major gripes about it. So say this one last. So can you read, write, and compose music?
yes.
Okay, let's move on. JV. What's social media music influence on you?
Captain's request line.
Yeah,
He wrote a song called "For Fuck's Sake."
you've got to stop encouraging that wee man. I'm telling you, it's not going to end well. Um, have you ever serenaded young girls like in primary school or women with your smooth voice and musical abilities?
I did. I even do it with my horses too.
Yeah.
I'll take the guitar out every once in a while and play something, and the horses come up. They're mesmerized by the sound, and then Faith will come up and put her nose on the guitar strings while they're strummed, and it tickles her, so she takes back a bit, which is funny. But the animals absolutely love the guitar voice too. I mean, I'm always singing to Faith.
Oh, this will be a tricky one. Who's better, Nirvana or Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Bone Thugs. I cannot stand Nirvana. That shotgun music. Oh, sorry.
Who's your top three favorite guitarists?
Hmm. BB King, blues all the way, man. Chuck Berry, he was a big influence with me.
Yeah,
Big top one for me.
JV mentioned him as well.
These are influences of mine. Who would be a third one? Let me think about that. But
Okay,
those are the two. Rock is based on blues, so it's blues with distortion, pretty much.
Chuck Berry. So
Chuck Berry and BB King.
What was Slash?
I was kind of thinking early days, top three faves that influenced me on my playing initially. But favorite.
Well, here's the question then, just to play devil's advocate then.
Okay.
Why didn't you put Chuck Berry in your supergroup or BB King?
Well, I looked at her question. I was kind of going into retro mode, but top three guitarists like nowadays that I listen to. It's hard to say because I'm always drifting between genres and everything. But like Eddie Van Halen, I mean, Tony Iommi. I mean, I could say Phil Collin from fucking Def Leppard. That guy's phenomenal as well. Vinnie Vincent. There's so many guitarists that are just an influence that are top faves for me.
Yeah.
I don't listen to just one genre, so it's
Dave,
hard to
Gil-
say. So I kind of fell back on the old style,
Dave Gilmore.
David Gilmour's good. Yeah.
And I want to point, JV, you notice he didn't say Hendrix. See, Hendrix,
Well,
Hendrix is overrated.
the thing was is that I wasn't into Jimi Hendrix because the people that I hung out with that were listening to Jimmy at the time, because I'm older than JV, because this is back before the days, were a bunch of drug heads, and that's all they listened to
Yeah.
was Jimmy and that stuff. So I wasn't really into it. Jimmy was never an influence to me coming up. I was never a big blues guy when it came to uh, playing instruments at all until I got with the guitar. But I wasn't a big Jimmy fan. I was aware of him, Purple Haze and all that. I learned how to play Purple Haze and shit like that. But the main riff, don't, but it never was an influence for me. I wasn't a southern rock person. If there was a southern rock band, it wasn't Leonard Skinner. It was always 38 Special. It was it was always the popper one of them. Even Skinner was Skinner was Skinner. I mean, I wasn't really into it at that time.
Yeah.
So I was into Def Leppard. I was into the Clash. I was into a lot of other shit that Rat, the hair bands that were coming out, Motley Crue. All that stuff when I was getting into guitar.
Okay. No, fair play.
I mean,
Okay. A couple of quick ones.
Sure.
Have you ever offered private lesson?
No. I was always practicing.
Yeah. So what are your
Women in Rock and Roll is awesome, man. Fucking Joan Jett, fucking Lita Ford, all the people from the Runaways. Women in rock rocks, man. Freaking Heart, fucking
There's
Nancy
a couple of
Wilson.
smashed ones at a minute. Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm.
Yeah, Lizzie Hale.
You know,
all those guys, man. The vocalist, Nightwish. I mean,
yeah, not Nightwish. Fucking hate Nightwish. Fuck me, I hate Nightwish. But is it Taylor Momsen from Pretty Reckless and all that, So yeah,
there are tons of women in rock.
Yeah,
man.
the more the merrier. I mean, a good rock artist is a good rock artist. It's as simple as that,
Yep.
right?
Barracuda, man, that's a great riff on guitar, man.
Even when it comes to music, I don't care who or what they are. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what religion they are. I don't care what sex they are. If they produce something that sounds good, I don't give a fuck. That's so I'm as long as it's good women artist, good enough for me. You know, so
great women vocalists and oh man.
So did you ever introduce music to your children? Are any of them involved in music? And if so, how do you perform?
That's weird. All my kids were involved in sports. So 3 boys and 2 girls. None of them took up music except listening. I used to play in front of my kids all the time, and they never picked it up. They never did. A lot of them love listening to music, but I kind of put them in a path on what I listened to. It kind of made them go a different way as they were growing up, but none of them got involved in it.
Yeah, but you can't force them into it. They're either going to find it or they're not.
They didn't get the gene from me, so.
Yeah. So, do you believe every group member receives equal payment, even if they did not write or contribute to writing the lyrics and music?
Well, since I was in a cover band, everyone needed to be paid equally. The only problem I had is those that came late that didn't help set up or tear down or whatever. There's a lot that goes into playing live, especially. That's a sore subject with me when it comes to bands, is that people take advantage of everybody else, and then they just keep putting shit on top of that as well. And you don't want to cause a conflict, especially at a gig where one of them walks and then you gotta do the gig by yourself. or whatever. So
I,
yeah,
I,
equal payment.
yeah, I think if you're
Yeah.
performing, yes. Although I do think if you're the creative, if you're the one that writes a song, 'cause that's where the genius is a lot of the time. I think the guy that writes stuff should get a bigger, you know.
I agree in that aspect. If it's an original band,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a cover band that's doing their shit, everyone gets equal pay.
Okay. Right. Last one then. I think we'll just.
Okay.
What music did your parents listen to, and do you remember any of the artists?
Yeah, a lot of it is country because I grew up in the country. Cowboys, cows, horses, you name it, man. I was around it all the time. So I used to sit in front of my grandparents' console, 8 tracks,
Right. Oh, that
and
is
play.
before.
God, I fell in love with John Denver. I fell in love with uh, Dolly Parton. I fell in love with Johnny Cash. I fell in love with God, all of the greats from that because they would all be in the kitchen. My grandmother was a beautiful cook in the kitchen. She made their kitchen huge. All of the parents and stuff were in there and they're drinking beer and smoking, and I'm in the living room all by myself while the other cousins, because I was the youngest cousin, I'd sit in front of there and just listen to the freaking the turntable and the 8 tracks. Man, it was fucking awesome. You know, country roads take me home. You know,
Yeah.
that
I
was my
always,
life growing up as a little kid. Man, it was awesome.
I always remember the really inappropriate joke about that one. You know what? You know, what weighs 4.5 pounds and won't be getting plucked this Christmas? John Denver's guitar. You know,
That guy died a horrible death too.
really? I
That
know.
guy was decapitated in a plane crash.
All right.
His own
Well,
plane.
you know, not being funny. At least it was quick.
Right.
No, I don't mean that the way it is. I've watched people have loved that died slow, horrible deaths. You know, well, I suppose that the 5 minutes of the plane going down couldn't have been fun. You know,
Yeah. Well,
but at least in the end, you know.
the fuel thing was over his shoulder, which would change the fuel from one wing to the other. He
Right.
ran out of fuel in one wing, and he went to do the thing, and he pushed, you know, counterbalancing himself with the foot on the rudder,
Right.
and went meow right into the ground. He was only 500 feet off the ground when it happened.
No, no, so,
Yeah.
um, right. Well, listen. I think.
Thank you.
Sorry, Carla just wants to know. I suppose. So one quick one from
Yeah.
Carla. Do any of your kids play instruments? I think you've sort of answered that one.
Computers.
Yeah, I've got to play.
Cool.
Okay. So listen. Thrice. Thank you very much. Um, Loved it. You know me. I'll talk about music. I can sit here all night and talk about music. Um, just great. So I know you write down so many questions, but sort of want to do the just music ones as a spin off and again. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Great. Good
So
shit going on, Captain. You're doing a good job, man.
I don't know about that. Like I said, like as long as I keep enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. And if people want to
Yeah.
do it with me, then that's fine. So
You got it, man.
thank you very much. Are you going live tomorrow night or anything? Do you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, we'll see if I'll probably go live tomorrow sometime. It just depends on what's going on because there's been a lot of shit going on with the rescue. So um, it'll probably be, if anything, in between 4 and 5 Eastern. Let's see, four, five, six. So it'll be 6 or 7 Eastern time if I go live. So keep an eye out for that. I might put a notice out
What's
late.
what's 6 or 7 Eastern time in real time? What's it for proper people in Britain?
So it'd be, let's see, 4 or 5,
Well,
so
what time's it
four.
there now?
So it'll be 11 o'clock your time for 4 o'clock my time.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you're
Um,
7 hours ahead of me.
7 hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Thank you, Miss Piggott. Thank you. Um, right. So, thank you for doing this. Thank you for everybody that watched, and thank you for everybody that contributed in the chat and all. So, I'll do this again in a lot of weeks, but I'll back to normal 20 questions next week. So, and I think we'll call it.
Everybody but Joey, pick up an instrument and stroke it.
We'll see about that. So, thanks, Thrash. Thanks, everybody else.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me, Cap.
All right. Anytime.